Hey, how's it going out there, guys? Hey, just came back from my first kayak fishing tournament, bass tournament, at Lake Allen Henry in West Texas, and just had a blast. And I want to give a shout out to the West Texas Kayak Fishing Organization. They held a great event, and I had a lot of fun. So I've got a video here, got some do's, got some don'ts, and just some film of the time on the water. So stay tuned, it should be fun. Okay, so the first thing I figured out pretty quick, I've been in a few boating tournaments, mainly with buddies, and done a couple of them by myself. And a kayak tournament is a whole different stress level, lower stress. It was a lot of fun. It was more like fun fishing for the day. People aren't afraid to come up and talk to you. I paddled up and had a couple of kayakers paddle up to me, say, "Hey, how's it going? Are you having any trouble with the app?" You gotta take a picture of your fish catch with your phone and send it in on an app. And that's a little different experience too. It's not real hard once you get the hang of it. But I got a few don'ts. Let's start with the big don't. So I had my net with me, but I didn't use it. On my old Pro Angler 10 Heritage kayak, it sat real low in the water and it was narrow. And so I prefer to reach down and just belly a fish, or if it's a single hook bait, like a swim bait or something, I'll just reach in and grab their lip. But I prefer to land a fish that way. Not a real great idea on a bigger kayak like the one I got now, that Bonafide. It's a wider platform, it sits up higher in the water, and it's much harder to reach over the edge of the kayak. So I opted not to use my landing net. And you'll see in the video here, it's didn't work out well. I lost one fish over the side of the boat. Another one, I got a hook in my hand pretty good. And yeah, it was one of those bad ones. My first do is, luckily I had a pair of bullnose pliers in the kayak, and I was able to push the hook through, cut the barb off, and pull it back out. And I'm going to attest right here, right now, Fusion hooks by Berkley are very sharp and very good. So anyway, make sure you got some pliers with you. In mine, I'm keeping them down on my tray now. I had it in the back end when this happened, and I had to shut off the GoPros, cut the line, reach around to the back end, grab my toolkit, get it out. All this while I got a square bill hanging out of my hand. So anyway, keep these close and keep them on your kayak. That's your first do. Second big one, fish grips. So these were paramount to taking any stress level out of kayak fishing. So if you haven't scored a fish before on a kayak, you land the fish. With these, you can put your fish on the fish grip, and then just whichever side of the kayak you want to put the fish on, clip the fish off and let it swim around. No worries. He's not stressed. You'll see in the video, the fish is having fun out there. He splashes me and gets water all over me. So, well, I wouldn't say he's having fun, but he's definitely not being hurt. So what you can do if you're worried about, the fish bumping up against something and opening up the jaws, again, I use Gene Jensen, Fluke Master. You see him do the same thing. That's where I got the idea. Wrap this around a couple times and then simply take and put a half hitch in. And that's going to keep that from moving. It's going to keep it from opening up. And then once you get the fish in the boat, simply take it loose. But that half hitch is real easy. I'll show it to you again. Just take in your hand, fold it like that, put it around the fish grip, and it's secured. Now, like I say, I would suggest going ahead and putting a couple of wraps in there just to be careful. And then you just take like this, and there you go. That fish isn't going to bump off. He's not going to get away. So use a fish grip. That's another do. It worked out really well. The fish can swim around while you're getting your board up on your lap and getting your camera out ready to take that picture. Okay, I used a couple of gallon baggies to keep my soft plastics in. And that worked out really well. I just stuck them back behind me, and I had one baggie with my worms and crawl baits and one baggie with my swim baits. That worked out rather well. So do a little research before you go to the lake, figure out which soft plastics you want to take, and that works out good. So I did catch a few fish, and what I did most of my damage on was well, I did all my damage, was on a craw colored Berkeley 5.5 square bowl. And again, fusion hooks are really sharp. My hand can attest to that. It got beat up pretty bad. I knocked one of the eyes out of it. It's got good 3D eyes. So what I caught it on, they don't make it anymore, but they were called a bionic blade. Those products from Bass Pro Shops. It's a 7-foot medium heavy fast action rod, and it's got the micro guides. And I really like these micro guides for a bait caster. This rod, I bought several others. I bought this about 4 years ago. I bought several others since then, and this is still one of my favorite rods. The knock against these rods is the tip breaks off, and I bought 2 of them, and sure enough, I did break the tip off the first one. Got that paired with a 7.3 bionic blade reel, and I got 12-pound fluorocarbon on there. So this setup I really like. I keep it on the boat all the time. I just change out which bait I put on there. But as far as just a cranking rod for a kayak, it's great because it is a little bit shorter. It's got plenty of give, and you can cast this thing a mile. So really like that setup. Okay, so as you'll notice with my kayak, I'm paddling. I don't have pedals, I don't have an electric motor, and for right now I prefer it that way. My Bonafide is set up more to have an electric motor on it. It really doesn't have pedals or anything that go along with it, but I enjoy paddling. So if you have a paddle kayak and you want to get in one of these tournaments and try it out, by all means, go ahead. You know, these guys were really nice. We went from one guy who had the sponsored jersey, and he had a special trailer with toolboxes on it, and he had a little electric propulsion motor on there, you know, full setup, to guys like me that were just paddling. So again, it's a different atmosphere, but I really had a good time. And as you can see, I did have a couple of bad experiences. The other, don't forget your sunscreen. As I'm filming this right now, I'm having to take time off of work because I burnt myself so bad in one spot, right at the tops of my ankles. I didn't wear any socks, and I forgot to take my sunscreen with me. Well, guess what happened? I burnt the tops of, right there, the tops of my ankles, strip about that big, so badly. They're so blistered I can't wear socks, I can't wear boots, so I can't go to work. So make sure you got some sunscreen in there with you. That is the one thing I forgot in the Jeep, and I figured it out about 12 o'clock, and I'd already paddled out probably a couple of miles and thought, well, it'll be all right. Wasn't all right. So remember sunscreen. Even though I had everything else covered up, I had a gaiter, I had the hooded, fishing shirt, I had pants on, I had shoes on, but that little 3-inch strip got sunburnt really bad. So don't forget your sunscreen. Okay, so if you're new to kayaking or you haven't even purchased a kayak yet, I would advise you to do it. If you like being on the water, and you gotta be safe when you're kayaking. Make sure you got your PFD on, make sure you got a flag, and make sure you can get in and out of your kayak. That's a big thing. I bought the first kayak I bought, first thing I did, I paddled out just a little ways away from shore to where my feet didn't touch, and I bailed off of it, and I'd already watched some videos on how to get back in, and I made sure I could get in and out of the kayak before I went out very far. If you're going to struggle with doing that, don't go offshore very far, but it is a great way to get away from the bank fishermen. And you can get in places with a kayak where, the boaters can't get. You don't have to worry about going to a busy boat launch. Kayaking is great. So I would suggest, if you're thinking about doing it, your first kayak is going to be a test. I bought a fairly decent first kayak, and I love it, and I'll still use it. It has some advantages. I can paddle a lot faster in it. I can turn a lot easier. I will definitely use it on rivers. And like I said before, I could reach down, the water was right there. I could land fish much easier. So anyway, your first kayak is get what you can afford. Your second kayak, that's the one you're gonna really love. I really like the way I rigged out this kayak. It worked out well for me. And anyway, if you're thinking about getting into kayak fishing, by all means do it. All right, well, we got one. Unfortunately, I got a handful of hook. Yep, we got her in there good. Let's take care of this fish and then we'll get the hook out of my hand. Whoa, splashing me, turkey. All right, guys, so we got the fish, and I got the hook out of my hand. That was pretty much a mess. So now let's go ahead and get a picture of it. There it is, guys, first fish on the Bonafide. Okay. going to be right at 14 inches. Gonna go 12. All right, guys. So the fishing hasn't been real good today, but man, I'm really happy with this new Bonafide kayak. This SS127, I haven't felt like I was going to tip out of this thing at any point today. It's wonderful. With my old kayak, you know, it always felt like I couldn't reach behind me very well. And with this kayak, you know, it's no problem at all. Just reaching around, grabbing rods, getting stuff out. It's just really stable. I really like it so far. The only disadvantage is it is a bigger kayak, so you definitely feel like you're pushing around more weight. It's not very quick, but it stays fairly straight. Real good luck with that. The fish finder's working out great. It looks like the side scan and the down view both work real good, even though it's, you know, tucked up underneath. So all in all, I think we got a pretty good install. And if you didn't watch my hung it up. You probably didn't, but I did a beginner's casting video back months ago, and I was telling people to learn to throw, not necessarily left-handed, but to be able to throw over your left shoulder if you're right-handed, or right shoulder if you're left-handed. And today really reminded me, because we got enough wind that my kayak keeps getting turned. So I keep having to cast over my left shoulder a lot, because I use my right hand for casting. It's handy. So, of course, learning how to cast left-handed would be the best thing to do. But in lieu of that, you know, for those of us who don't go fishing that much and aren't real coordinated anyway, you can throw over your left shoulder or right shoulder if you're whichever. But yeah, it's been a real pretty day. The water temperature is about 59 degrees, and I've heard some locals say that the fish are up on the beds, but I haven't seen that yet. The fish, a couple of fish that I have caught have been up towards the shore, but they've been out, I guess, not on the shore, just close. So, and they seem to like red today. That's about all I've caught them on, is this little red square bill, what I've caught both of them on. But I haven't had any bites this afternoon. It's slowed way down, and I've been talking to the other kayak fishermen, and they said it's been pretty slow. But it's been a really good day. Like I say, the Bonafide, absolutely love it. This paddle I got, this Bending Branches Angler Pro, very nice paddle. Don't know as I'd recommend it. It's very expensive too. It's $320. So I really don't think you need that, but I saved some pretty good money on the kayak, so I splurged on the paddle. is if you're going to spend money on something, you know, you definitely want to get a lightweight paddle. It makes a big difference. I've been paddling around all day and I feel fine. But, definitely needed some practice on my casting. It's been a long winter, that's for sure. And normally these fish in this lake like a shaky head pretty good, but I haven't gotten any bites at all on the shaky head. Let's go ahead and bring that square bill right by this bush. Okay guys, I think I'm gonna go ahead and sign off unless I get a fish catch here. That'll be it for today. I appreciate y'all. Thank you. And we'll see you on the next one, guys. Thanks. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe. Let's get out on the water and have a great day.